This race is not the end line of a long march to death. Every warning brings the contestants closer to their grave is the step of any rider who takes 3 alarms and clears his place. With bullets, and the last one prefers to walk on his legs and earn. Every need and every wish is fulfilled. Welcome to a new summary with movie, The Thrill of the Long Walk. The Long Walk is a psychological production of 2025 and based on a novel, Stephen King. The story begins in the future in the United States. When the country fell into an economic crisis, there is no other, and the poor live in misery and despair spread among people like the epidemic and the government to return hope to the people, or at least distract them. I made an annual competition 50 contestants, one from each state, are selected. The rules are simple, but in the extreme brutality you must go ahead. No matter what happens, the last one will prefer to stand on his legs. He is the one who. He will earn a huge prize money, and any wish he wishes. Will you achieve anything that comes to his mind? Our name is Getty, and his life is considered comfortable compared to most people, but for reasons even his mother cannot understand her. He decides to register his name in this deadly competition for her mother. Please don't go away. Tears are drowning, and she is saying goodbye to him because in her heart she knows the truth that this may be the last time. You see her son, Aish JT Betos, on his fear, and he tries to catch him. Himself at the point of registration meets a confident man, and his muscles are macho. His name is Peter, a block of determination. Who will win when you come in? The racetrack met all the racers. The 2 who arrived before him were sitting in small groups laughing. And they wake up and don't realize the extent of the horror they are about to see, and suddenly an Arab military pocket slowly entered the place from which the colonel descended. The man who invented this deadly contest, with his features, cold and firm, and his looks, which are all orders. Look at me. The contestants are all for the last time before they start calling on each one. In his name, and a number indicates it as if it is a numbered death certificate. His speech was an impassioned sermon about honor, courage, and glory. For what the sermon, I finished the whole world, was. He watches in silence. Then the sound of one bullet resounds in the place, and the long walk was beginning. Officially, as we said, the rules were simple, but there is no mercy, and every rider wears a small tracking device in his hand that measures his speed. They prefer to walk quickly, not less than 5 kilometers per hour. If your speed falls below this limit, it will take alarm. 3 alarms means immediate filtering. But if you go out by land, the same road will not take a warning until you die. At that time, there is nothing. End line, and there is no last destination. Walking is not finished except when 49. One dies. Army Arabs and Jeep Arabs were cattle slowly beside them, working rulers and executioners. At the same time, in the first place, everyone's morale was very high. Cano Bezro Betelmo. They laugh at people until they took the subject as if it was a marathon. I wanted the first one to take an alarm. He was a young man wearing a cap. Baseball's name is Stevens, but he doesn't get stuck. All he did was adjust his speed again and smile. What is it if I prefer a whole hour of, unless you break any warning rule, you will suddenly be alone? Small, dry in the atmosphere of the boots and folded to untie the garter. Automated in the moment. The cold came out of the headphones, 2 warnings behind each other. Because his speed was more than 10 seconds in this moment. All understand. It will not be useful to take a warning and then slow down yourself. The system, I will not allow you. You go ahead, you die in. First, the class was Getty and Peter walking next to each other, talking to them to most forget. Pain. The young people here come from poor families, and for them, this money was everything, but my money was different. With him, for him, this whole competition was cruel and absurd. Yes, it is voluntary. But when every young man in the country because of Elias, where is the choice in this from the middle? 50 million. But their luck was good enough to choose their words, draw the attention of another young contestant. Thief wears glasses, and Melian Energy told them that his dream is writing a book about the long walk, from one point of view, who walked to show the whole world their true feeling. But their words are interrupted because a shower got in front of them. Contestant number 7, a terrible muscle tension, tried to withstand the pain and complete its speed. A worker was less than a warning, and then the second one came running on him, and he encourages him, but it was too late. Number 7 laughed, a broken laugh. And then he signed the asphalt, the 3rd alarm, and he saw the sound of a bullet. One of this sound froze everything. They are in their place for minutes. They were talking like the friends who are. The morning is walking now. The air is still fading, and the only one that was heard was the regular bear of the 2 men's voice. Walking to death, the hot sun was stinging the earth. and I went to the side, Arab supplies, and drink a large water trumpet as if it was thirsty for years. This is the only need that the organizers would have offered if they were. I want to eat. They are with them. And because Getty was randomly chosen as a local actor, this week she was in A Little Girl. She is standing on the side of the road holding a sign and encouraging him with all her heart. And Peter, in his usual style, he grabbed himself and smiled and said, "Who told you that you're competitors? What works? Be your friends." His intimate words raised the spirits of those around them. Everyone was fine, except for number 5, who spilled them and said that they are doing what they are doing. They discuss one of the contestants fell to the ground, and the foams are coming out of bug number 5. It's disgusting, and literally seconds later, the sound of the bullet rang in. The place is a writer, too. He went to number 5. He laughed as if it was a game and screamed, "This is our chance to win." Getty and Peter increased with a mule and a mask, themselves in good health because they don't hit a leech of death in the middle of the road. After that I came back. The group watches were cattle for more than 3. Continuous hours. When a short Asian boy was born, he was crying and he would fall. They came quickly and supported him and suggested they have to apply a little so that they prefer at least quickly. Aloud, what is this race, not who will walk faster? This is a test who can prefer to walk for the longest period of time. Contestant no. He started making problems again when he knew that the contestant number 9 was rank. Don't miss a chance to spit out on him, to the point that he spilled on his mother because she called him this name. Rank is red from anger. Roll and turn a box, but from his nervousness, I cringe and fall into a very rigid fall. I can't get up again, and in seconds of the system, 3 alarms behind some of the sound of the bullet. Those who came after them will leave everyone. In shock and silence, number 5 tried to defend himself and said, "Guys, he hit me." The first, but no one cares about the truth. It was clear on the road. And his excuses did not have any meaning. And the rest are involuntarily after about him. How many steps? Not long after that, a village smell spread in the young air. Abu Nazara ran in front of him while he was grieving, and guess how much he could hold. The same guess was right in front of a little number 45. It was his stomach. "You are in pain and underlooks." Everyone disgusting sat on the ground eclipsed, and before he was finished, take the 3rd alarm, and then the same cold sound of a bullet that does not know mercy resounded. Again, at this particular moment, the truth is the time I hit at, and they are all gentlemen from here and going. If you want to live, they must eat drink or even relieve themselves while walking. Without standing for 1 second when the group reached a distance. 55 Arab kilos. The colonel stood next to them again. He was in the chair next to the driver and encourages them with a voice loud through the loudspeaker, says that the chances of rapid success in life is not much. Take advantage of this moment, but with sunset. Fatigue seemed to creep into them. The first night always remains the hardest. Getty was aware of this information from the old reports that read it tonight, the one who most people leave in it and their speed decreases without feeling. Every how many minutes the alarm sounds terrifying. Was on the road and after him along the sound of harsh bullets. Even Getty himself did not hit the roll. He took 2 warnings. How many hours, but in front of number 5 I don't see any chance. In order for Getty's mind to shine on him, he was escaping from him until next to him he grabbed a shield and said he sprinkled a little water on his face thanks to the sound of his constant encouragement. Getty is a destiny that exceeds this long, harsh night, and with the first thread of the light of dawn, a need in the atmosphere, fatigue has changed. Dabin was replaced by Safa Garib, who looked at the Peter other than every gratitude for a moment. He originally forgot that they were supposed to be competitors, or in this case, enemies at this time. Fadel Tamantasher, a writer, but they are all confused. She was pale from lack of sleep and pain. And then the sound rang again. The sound of the cold machine whistle from tracking devices. The young Abu Nazara, who was dreaming of writing a book. About this gate, his leg was crossed. He took 2 warnings. And Peter can't afford the view of Fu and the gentleman on the other side. And they did not hear the warning. The 3rd, moments later, the sound of a gunshot penetrated the silence of dawn. And this is how his name is also removed from the value. So I can't catch himself more than that. He sat cursing at the brutality of the rules, and his voice with anger, but number 5 is as usual. He must make mud worse and throw his poisonous words like knives. Peter caught his hand trying. He held his nerve, put his hand on Getty's shoulder and said, quietly, "Don't waste your energy on forms like this. This is providing it for this important walk." Now at the same moment, this is the colonel's voice coming out of headphones are full of pride and authority, he says. Congratulations, 160 kilos, but instead of chanting one from the contestants, his nerves got away. He ran towards a supermarket. On the road, desperate for freedom and comfort. Any need other than the nightmare in which this is not a straw until it arrives. For the door, 1 bullet dot in the air. His body fell to the ground before anyone screamed. This moment was destroyed. What hope was the rest of them? Elias and anger spread in the group. Like the wave, Getty tried to lighten the weather and made a bad joke because he prevents himself from collapsing, but the tension was. The other arrived, an indigenous boy, who was the first one to speak, sat, shouting and cursing at the colonel, his voice hoarse from oppression, and as soon as he seemed, the rest, why did they join one behind the other, to some extent the whole group? She was upset. As competitors, but as one entity for the first time, the races alone. She finally opened her doors. The rain descended profusely and they all drowned. The falling rain corrected their nerves, and the strange thing is that it was the most dedicated night. In the whole walk, no one came out and no one fell. And with the morning of the third day of the race, the owner of GT, Arthur, he holds himself more than that without hesitation. His pants went down on the side in its work, and it maintains its speed perfectly and in a manner strange, finished before the warning is taken. The third JT and Peter can't hold themselves laughing. And his work, like his amazing timing and emotional slumber. When Arthur slandered him to smell clean air, he finally opened his heart. Talk about the real reason. The one who made him participate in this strange, deadly competition said, when he was young, he saw his father like him, a man who refused to live. Under any restrictions, his father believed in freedom of thought and music. Shake the soul in the books that you feel that you are still living. But on the night the soldiers broke into their house, his father was lying in front of all the neighbors, the colonel at the time. He went ahead and announced the verdict coldly. You are guilty of publishing banned ideas and unauthorized content. I do not eat the homeland in order or face immediate execution without. He hesitated for a moment. His father chose to die tonight. This is a scar in the soul of GT forever, and my time is finally revealed. His presence here is not fame or money. His only wish is if he won't be close. From the colonel enough to kill the man who was taken. His father's life, but Peter didn't like this talk. He said that revenge is not every need in life. Directly, and he said, think about your mother and your friends. He preferred to remain silent. His ideas were less than they are described in words. At 70 kilometers, the march was transformed into one pure hell of, the contestants are crying, and his leg broke his seat. Please the soldiers in the tank next to them because they help him, but instead of mercy he took a cold bullet. He took it in his face. And then, as if they were proving that their cruelty has no limits, the soldiers moved the tank ahead and mashed its legs under it, and even after all this is not done, please stand waiting for his third warning to be finished. Another contestant, a young brown man, saw the horror that was happening in his nerves. I walked away from his demolition and ran towards the side of the road in seconds of bullets pierced the air and his body. A lifeless body fell on the ground, and when the night came, another was virtuous. 7 contestants, but the little Asian boy who was fighting. Fatigue from the first day finally came to the end without frequent attack on one of the soldiers, as if he was begging them. They get rid of all this, but the military did not hit a fire. Wait while he was waiting every painful second to some extent, the 2 seconds. Finish Arthur. And he's screaming that they can't help him like this, but before he arrives, he has the sound of 2 alarms that came out of the device in his hand. If it was not, he grabbed him and pulled Laura. Arthur died too at the same moment. The pen in their hearts is transformed for another need, a gloomy type of insistence, and the survivors are so slow, on each other and walking together until dawn. Problem maker number 5 watches them, and his eyes are full of envy in the end. He walks next to me. His voice trembles while he confesses to saying, you know, I have been all my life alone. I didn't have friends, and the youngest of the 2nd children hated me. I think that's the reason. The one who made me come out so cruel and sick. I hesitate a little bit and then look at my coming directly and say I don't want stay like this again. We can let our minds off each other at least. Until the end, I didn't know. He says he needs to shake his head with the text of approval. And he said how many ordinary words of consolation before he was away from him. The one who divided the camel's back, something in the mind of number 5, my run exploded. At the beginning of the class, a knife came out with him, and he finished himself in front of everyone for you again. The contestants froze. Their place is shocked and stunned. Just a short while later, it's a normal walk. And with the dawn of the 5th day, Getty, suddenly he noticed that the road in front of him looked upside down. His idea city tilted his heart with a ray of hope to some extent. He felt that his boots were cutting off the sole of the boot. Completely get away from here and go. He must walk barefoot and then see it. His mother is standing on the side of the road. Tears are drenched and she spits on her barefoot broken son. The heart of Jet caught. It couldn't hold itself more than that. Run around her desperate and bid her a final farewell. But before he delivers her, Peter grabbed him from his back and took him back to the road a few seconds ago. But from now on, the third ultimatum condemns him to death. Getty was full of regrets. He was supposed to score in this damn race. Despite this, Peter preferred to guide him. He said, "Just focus. You finish the race, win, and take your prize. And fulfill your wish, and then go home and live with your mother." This is all now. Then the race was only 1/4 kilos. Fadil has 5 contestants, but the giant Estebans was struggling, because he maintains his speed while Arthur the brown racer looked bleeding from his nostrils strangely, and the native boy was. He moved silently. In the front, I came to upset him to slow down a little, but suddenly the boy attacked. Ahead, and kidnapping a military weapon, his plan was bold. He wanted to escape them all. The race, but fate was less Raytani. A bullet hit him in his stomach, and I think of the Asian boy who died before that. The seat of the 2 seconds, and he hit himself with fire. And as night fell, Arthur finally arrived. To the end, Getty and Peter supported him. Arthur, however, was calm and grateful that he will spend his last moments with friends who can trust. Among them, he untied the chain around his neck and gave it to my body and said, "Take this." He reached the end and gave her Valley to my grandmother. Then with a deep breath and a jaw fell himself from their hands, bravely faced death. And when the race reached 65 kilos, Stevens was, okay, he got the last one, confessed to Getty that in fact, the illegal son of the colonel and the reason behind him participating in the race was simple. He wanted the colonel to take him and his mother live with him. But after he sees the reality of the Savage Stevens seemed to hate the blood that ran through his veins, I realized. What is his constant insistence? It was ridiculous, and he suddenly stood in his place and the sound of a bullet rang, and Peter's resolve began to weaken. He knew he was coming to an end. He too. And the world began to rain, and the masses were gathered in front of him. Peter stopped understanding that this race is only one real winner. And in his heart he wished that I would come. He returns to his mother, but he didn't want to stand even though he was taking warnings of salvation. Akbar Peter prefers to walk next to him while he returns him to walk. With each other, even violin. Peter agreed, but at this moment the sound of another bullet resounded and saw them. Getty was standing near him, and before the third alarm, even at the moment, Peter chose my hand, a chance that he lives, and sacrificed his life for his owner. Peter officially won the race, but he was completely collapsed and in tears, coming down from his eyes like the waterfalls amid the cheering of the crowd. The colonel entered the middle of the road. He was supposed to make one wish for the winner. Peter looked at Getty, who was dead for a long time, and said, "I wish him quietly, I want the gun." After that, a military man advanced the Valley of Albitar, the gun, but instead of what directs it. In any other instance, she directed her towards the colonel and hit the fire without hesitation. And in order to fulfill the wish of his owner, he will expel her with an unimaginable fortune and even risk the wrath of the whole world friendly. The end of the movie, and we meet in summarizing it. New, and thanks for watching.